Hello everyone. Now in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I write my labels which I stick on the plastic covers that house my Beatles albums. Now this video was requested by Patrick McGarry. So hello Patrick, I hope you find this useful, and the same to everyone else who watches this video. I hope you find this helpful. So first of all, what you need is some nice sticky labels. I like to use these ones which you just peel off a sheet. You can get those extremely cheaply, and I'll show you an example of one of my Beatles labels. So I'll stand this up against here. This is one for my original first pressing of A Hard Day's Night in mono. So I don't bother to write the album on the label because you can see what the album is. This isn't a particularly nice copy. But anyway, so you can see what the album is, so you don't need to write that on the label. However, I do like to write the audio on the label, so whether or not it's in mono or in stereo, and this is a mono, and then write the pressing on, so this is the first pressing, and also the variation. And sometimes I even like to write the date of release on, so July the 10th, 1964, and that G plus L at the bottom, that's Gowden Lofthouse, so that means this has got a Gowden Lofthouse sleeve in it. And that pretty much tells you all you need to know about the album that's in the sleeve. And this system is really helpful for me because where all my Beatles albums are stored in shelves, I can just pull an album out a little bit and look at the label on the top left corner so I can see exactly what pressing it is, rather than having to take loads of albums out and spill through them all. I can just have a quick look at the label and I know exactly which album I've got in my hands, which is extremely helpful. And it looks something like this. So in the shelf I would go variation B, then it would go to the variation C, like that. So as I'm going through the shelf, I can see nice and easily what I've got. Now here, I'll show you in the variation B. I've got a couple of other pieces of information. So first of all, at the bottom it's got Ernest J. Day. So that's again a reference to the manufacturers of the sleeve. It's not a Gowden Lofthouse one. And this here is what I like to call the Spicer number. Now, if you have the Beatles on Parlophone Records book by Bruce Spicer and Frank Daniels, each variation in that book has its own little catalogue number, if you like. That's obviously Parlophone, and I believe the 1230 refers to the PMC 1230. I might be wrong. But anyway, so I sometimes like to have that on there, so I also know which variation I have of the ones shown in that book. And if you can get that, then I would definitely recommend it, as it's a very comprehensive guide to collecting UK Beatles albums. So anyway, that's variations A, B and C of the mono Hard Day's Night. And again, just for subsequent pressings, just exactly the same system. Second pressing variation A, and the second pressing was released from 1966 until 1969, so that's on there. And again, G and L for the Gowden Lofthouse sleeve. And then just it progresses on, so variation B. And if there's a particular distinguishing feature about this variation which helps me to recognise it, then I like to make a note of it there. So this one has the sans serif font rather than the Times New Roman font. And here's a variation. Sorry, this is the third pressing. So I've got the year on there, summer 1969 to November 1969. And that's a duplicate copy of that. And the fourth pressing, and it goes on. I haven't got all the mono pressings down here with me. The rest of them are still in the shelf. But anyway, that's how it goes on through the collection. And it's pretty much the same deal with the stereo albums. Again, this label is identical to that of the first pressing mono, except obviously I've written stereo at the top, so I know that it's a stereo album, and it's got all the same details on. So that once again, you can just go through the collection nice and easy, knowing exactly which album you've got before you pull it out the shelf. And it also really helps me when I'm doing my Beatles videos as well, because I can see straight away what it is that I've got to talk about on the label. And if in case you didn't notice, there's actually a second pressing. I don't have that at the moment. But anyway, here on the third pressing, once again, like the second pressing Hard Day's Night with the sans serif on the label, this one has a distinguishing feature. It has the spelling error of I should have know better rather than I should have known better on the label. And you can see these albums in more detail if you check out my Hard Day's Night collection video. But again, that's all the information on there. It's even got the Bruce Spicer Frank Daniels number at the top there as well. So really the amount of information I have on a Beatles label just varies with the pressing and variation, etc. But it will always have the audio, the pressing, the variation if that applies, and usually the release, but not always. And just as a bonus here, I've brought one that I've done for one of my American albums. Now, I've done this in a very similar style. So at the top, this is a Beatles second album. I've got mono, first pressing. However, I have written down the factory in which it was produced, because you could get it in like Scranton, which is the East Coast, or Los Angeles, which is the West Coast, or the Jacksonville plant. So it's a slightly different ball game with the American releases. But here I've got Scranton 1964, and the distinguishing feature about this pressing is that it has no running times next to Long Tall Sally and I Call Your Name. Alright, so that's the end of this video. I hope you all found this interesting, and I'll see you all next time.